In this video, I'm going to show you how to manually enter a subaward for another university. Let's say that they never sent us a PDF of their subaward. We need that budget info in the subaward. We need to attach it to our prime proposal. So what if we have to do it ourselves? I'm going to show you this right now. I'm going to go ahead and open one of my training proposals. I'm in our training environment now, and we'll discuss how this will work. So I'm going to go down to the R&R subaward budget attachment. I'm going to make sure if there is a subaward, make sure you click that checkbox, because we're going to be including a subaward in this. If you don't click the checkbox, then it won't be submitted alongside the actual proposal, the full proposal. Now, normally you want to import a subaward. I've covered this in other trainings. If they have a PDF of their subaward ready to go, then that's super easy for us. All we need to do is click import, and we would browse and find that PDF file and bring it into our system. That way we don't have to put in any special information. We don't have to find out anything for them. We don't need to look up their UEI. We don't need to find any of their rates. It's really convenient, much easier if they do their subaward and send it to us in a PDF. However, if we have to manually do a subaward for another university, another institution, we'll have to use this Create Subaward button. So I'm going to click Create Subaward, and we're going to talk about some of the issues with this and why it can be a little bit more difficult. So, the first thing I'm going to point out, I'm going to look at the subaward name here. I'm going to call it, let's just say this is Johns Hopkins subaward. Name it whatever you want. In order for us to create one from scratch, we need that organization to be in our system already, in our internal database. Now, this is an internal database at Tulane. This isn't something that will go out on the internet and just magically find every organization, every university in the world. So we have to rely on what we've already put into the system. And when we launched this, we didn't have any universities in the system. We mostly rely on universities sending us their subawards. So if we have to manually add somebody and you don't see them on the list, which they most likely will not be, we're going to need a PDF of their rate sheet. We're going to need all of their information, because in sponsored projects, we'll need to go in the admin module and add all of that information. We need to add Johns Hopkins rates for all their IDC rates, their UEI, a lot of their other information. A rate sheet may look like this. So here's one for University of Washington I have, and it'll show a list of all of their rates. And we have to do this in sponsored projects. We need this rate sheet to go in and manually put all of these rates in so that you won't get an error later on. If you tried to create a subaward and there were no rates attached to this sponsor or to this subawardee, it wouldn't work. You'd get some errors involved. So that's why we need that rate sheet. So assuming you've emailed us, just contact your SPA representative and try to get us that rate sheet. And then once we enter that rate sheet and get them into our system, they'll show up here as Johns Hopkins. And then you'll pick which of those IDC, the indirect cost rates. Pick which one of those. There might be 5, 10, there might be one that they have on their sheet. So I'm going to pick their on-campus rate. The budget periods is already grayed out for this particular one. The due date, I'll just say, is then, and we'll create the subaward. So you'll see there's no information filled out here, obviously, because we're creating this subaward for them. We're doing their whole budget for them. So there's a lot of errors to fill out right here. By default, it brings you to this first budget page, but what I suggest is going back up to performance sites, and we're going to go step by step and fill out this for them. First thing I do is click this Include in Prime. This will make sure that whatever information here we put for performance site data, it'll show up in our prime proposal. So I'm going to put Johns Hopkins here. Whatever their UEI happens to be, you can put it right there. So you'll need to make sure you have that handy as well. We do put it in the background, but sometimes you may have to re-enter it there. Their street address, 123 place. Just putting some random information here. Whatever the city happens to be, whatever the state happens to be, country, their zip code, and make sure you put the 9-digit zip code, because it won't continue until you put the 9-digit US zip code. Again, you're seeing a lot of reasons why this is a little bit more work whenever we have to manually do this for another institution. So once that's in, we can move on to key persons. And with key persons, what you need to do is go to Manage Key Persons. We'll get a little pop-up screen here. We're going to go to Add Key Person. And then we can put in Unlisted. So this is the other tricky part. We can't put in every researcher for every university that's ever existed. It would be impossible. So this is limited to just what we have in our database. We do have a unlisted. We've got a few different unlisted ones. I believe we have 5 different key persons that are named unlisted. So you're going to look for one that says unlisted, comma, unlisted, based out of unlisted university. And you'll pick that. We're just going to add that selected key person. And you'll see they're showing up at the top as unlisted. We can fix that later. First, we're going to go to their bio sketch. We're going to make sure we have their bio sketch. Upload that. We're going to scroll down to, if there's any other attachments here, obviously, but we're going to scroll down to the role. We'll say they'll be a co-investigator. And then we need to know their appointment type. So another place you could get hung up, we need to know within that university, are they on a 12-month calendar year schedule? If so, put 12 there. If they're not, they might be on an academic/summer schedule, 9 months academic, 3 months summer. So a lot of information you have to dig up if you're doing this for another university. We'll just say this person's on a 12-month salary, and I'm going to put in $100,000 as their base salary here. And let's say for the first project period, they're going to work 3 calendar months. It auto-calculates their salary. It won't auto-calculate the fringe. You need to put in their fringe benefit rate. So yet another thing you need to know. You can either put in a percentage here and it'll auto-calculate, or if you know what you want to put in a specific dollar value, you can put that in as well. Once you've done the first project period, what I recommend is going to this Escalate Replicate Key Person button. And for this one, I'm going to start in budget period 1 and go through budget period 5. I'm just going to replicate. This will copy everything over starting at budget period 1 and going all the way through budget period 5. If you wanted to escalate that person's salary over the course of the project, if you know their escalation rate at that university, you can put it in here and then click Escalate. But if you don't know, you want to keep this one simple, we can just replicate this. When I do that, it autofills everything and puts all of that information in the budget already for us. So I'm going to go ahead and close this right here. You'll notice it's included in the prime proposal by default. We're still showing unlisted for this co-investigator though. We put in some information, but not their detailed information. You just have to click this plus icon next to them, and we're going to put in all of their real information. So I'll put John Smith. Put in whatever information you have about this person. The organization name is where you would put Johns Hopkins here, for example. The street address, 123 Street. There's a city, the state, the country, the zip code. Again, this is the 9-digit zip code again. So whatever you decide to put here. Phone number, email address. Obviously putting in fake information here. And we'll change that to edu. Their ERA Commons login, if they have that available, you need to put that. We've got their bio sketch and everything here looks good. You'll see it's still showing the name at the top as unlisted even though we've changed it here. It'll refresh once you hop out to another section and then hop back in. Then it'll show that information. And then the other thing you need to do is make sure you go to the R&R budget, and for every budget period, again, to switch budget periods, you use a drop down or these arrows. And you need to make sure you change their first name and last name. So John Smith. And you would go through each budget period, make sure you change that in every budget period. And then you would do their budget for them. So you'd put, if they had other personnel, you would put the rate they're using. Page 2 of the budget, you would fill out everything here. Page 3 of their budget, if they had materials and supplies, you put that in. You pick which rate. It's defaulting to whatever we selected at the beginning. And that is how you would fill that out. Well, you would also need their budget information, budget justification. So we put that in there as well. I'm showing we have one error left, and we need to find the congressional district. If you click on the errors, it'll tell you where that is. So I know Johns Hopkins isn't in Alabama. Obviously, I'm just putting in random things just to fulfill this training here. So this is how you do it. It took a little bit of extra time, but if you have all the information, we can get it done for you. But obviously, if you want to go look around, if I go back to our prime proposal, you'll see we have that subaward ready to go. It took a few bits of extra time, but definitely doable. If you have any questions about how to do this, or you need some help, or you need any advice, just reach out to us in sponsored projects. We'd be happy to help. Thank you.